Hi and welcome to this week's video. In this week's video I tidied up a few bits and pieces on the aircraft and correct the mistake that I made last week, so join me, I'll show you what I've been up to. Okay, a very busy day. Flying wires are in. I made up the new ones. You'll note it's got 3 crimps on these because this got more standard head and the more modern head. We had the landing wires, which were originally the rear flying wires, forward flying wires. I've got 2 because that was the type of head that had on there, so the difference. So that's from the Nico press system, so I double checked and there we go. The wires have been tensioned. I'm sorry I didn't really do any videoing. I'll explain what I did though for you. I set up the dihedral, adjusting the flying wires and the landing wires backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, until I got the dihedral 3 degrees on the lower wing. Didn't bother to check what I've got this dihedral on the top wing. That is set. I can't do anything about that now. I did that when I set that when I made up the end struts, so it cannot be changed at all. Once I did that, I then checked the instance of the wing at the root, lower wing at the root, and then I checked the instance of the wing at the tip here. Again, it's pointless doing it to the top wing because that is set by the end strut. So as long as it's right on the bottom wing, it's right on the top wing. That's why I spent ages getting that sorted out when I had the bare wings without any covering on. So it's pointless to be doing. I can't change the washout on the top wings. It's linked solidly to the lower wings. So because I had to do adjustments to get the washout right, well actually it's 0 degrees washout, I then came back to check the dihedral. So in this case, on this wing I had plus 0.5 degrees wash in. I had to change it to get washout. I then had to come back to get the dihedral. Once you've got dihedral, you check the washout again, and you go backwards and forwards, repeating that regime until you get it right on one side, and then you do the whole wretched thing all over again on this side. So it takes a time, and what we're aiming for is the cables to be all about the same tension. I'll double check those with a tensiometer, but from my experience that's right. You can't explain it when you've done as many as I have, you know. So cable tensions are set. If I need to increase the cable tensions, all the cables will be adjusted again together, and then I'll do another dihedral and instance check. God, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Sorry I'm having to do this in words, but there's no way I was going to set up the camera and get this done along with having the wife playing around with me. It was just not going to happen. And then I've just gone around putting the torque seal on everywhere I need to do. Oh, and I changed the nuts here, look. This nut here is a thin nut because these are taking shear loads, so this is a thin nut. And yes, people look and see that there's a bend in here. It's allowed to have a bend up to 30 degrees on the turnbuckle, so on that fork end. So I don't like it, but that's where it's allowed. So at the moment it's got, I think it's 5 degrees. That'll do me quite happily. So I've got a long bolt with a standard nut in here. If this nut was to come undone, that bolt can't come out anyway, but I wanted to put the nut into safety. I couldn't put the longer bolts in because it wouldn't fit in the gap, so I've put a thin shear nut on. All good. So the next job is wire locking the turnbuckles after I've done the tensiometer check. That's on the wings all done there. the rigging of the ailerons is all done. I think that's pretty much it. And my helper's been lying there. Helper has been lying there doing absolutely nothing. Where the auxiliary helper there has been working hard. Oh, the other thing we did was we did a pitot check, and we had a leak. So I leak checked it from here, disconnected and leak checked it from here. Still had a leak, and it was, of course, the joint down there that was leaking. So I confirmed that the instruments weren't leaking, reconnected that joint there, and now we hold pressure, which is grand. All exciting stuff. I can go home happy. Hard day's work done, dusted.
Pizza time.
Yeah, pizza time. And help us have a quick run around. Okay, so I've fitted some clear anti-chafe tape here. This is panel tape. Just saves anything chafing. It's going all the way around, so that's ready for the metal strip to go in. It'll come to about here, so there'll be a bit of an edge showing of that tape, but that tape's also going to go onto the metal plate to allow the two to be able to slip slightly as the dihedral changes in flight. The dihedral will change in flight because these wires will stretch and shrink as required. Okay, yes, in answer to A311 XHT, he sort of mentions about the fact that putting on turnbuckles to adjust the cables at the back end would be expensive and heavy, and he's thinking of using the tubular system as is normal by Fisher. I would agree with him. The tubular system is the easiest way of going about it, that's for sure. I prefer the cables because they're stronger and less likely to fatigue on the upper side here, which is the most critical because that's where we're going to get the tailplane is going to want to force itself down when I'm trying to pull out of things. So that's why I've done that. But hey ho, it's six one half dozen the other. But yes, they are more work. So my method of doing it is I leave a little bit of a gap up here, and I run the cable with the cable made up on its tang, with a tang in down here, and then I use a cable clamp. I'll put a photograph of the cable clamp here to clamp the cables with it. It's pulled as tight as I can by hand. I then undo the bolt and I swage it. Do that to all the cables, and then when it comes to actually putting it all back together again, there is adjustment. These cables would be just about the right length, but there is adjustment available. It's 4.5 turns per meter if you twist to increase the number of twists, the direction of twists on the cable, which works out 1.5 turns per foot, a turn being a full revolution of the cable, or 3 turns per meter, 1 turn per foot if you're going to untwist the cable of adjustment. So there you go. We've got that much adjustment available to us there, and by having it slightly open up here means that they're generally very slightly short, so I can unroll it by a little bit, and if I need a bit more, I can, as I've done here, I can put a washer, you can put up to 2 washers underneath the tang. So there we go. But yes, to be absolutely honest, stays would be. Yes, it's Mr. or Mrs. I don't know. KR8DR asked the questions: could you elongate the mounting holes to make up the 2 thread pitch? So when I was up here, I had 5 threads showing, and I was not far off, sort of 5 threads or so down on here. So could I have elongated the bolt mounting holes to allow me to take up that little bit of extra, so I could get this into safety? In theory, yes, but by doing so you're reducing the land here, and effectively you've mechanically worn out your aircraft to do it. So the simple answer is yes, you could, but it's not good practice. So hence I just made up new cables. The cost of making up a pair of cables, £20 or something like that, because I reclaimed the thimbles and bits up there. I've reclaimed everything down the bottom end, so it's literally just cables and swages. Yeah, I personally rather do that sort of 30 quid, something like that. It's not worth the effort. I'd rather have it right. Well, there's the cowl on in all its minor glory. It's a shame I can't really get rid of the cable somewhere, but that's how it is. So we've got that. The arrow shafts are in, held in with their O-rings. Sounds like we've got a flex wing flying overhead. So there we go. Yeah, that's those in. They're notched so they can't slide backwards and forwards. There we go. And the reason I use arrow shaft is it's a hard aluminium, so it won't bend too much. It's very rigid in this sort of format, and very lightweight, very thin tube. And I've left them open at the back end. I've closed up the front end, put a bullet end on the front out of wood. But as you can sort of see, it's a very thin wall here. I'll leave those open so it can breathe. So now my next task is the lovely wire locking. Just love doing that. And I'm not kidding, I do like doing wire locking. So I've got the 2 down there and the 1 up there on each side. Okay, let's see if I can show you the British way of wire locking turnbuckles up. This is the only slight deviation from the norm on this is, rather than it going through by the fork here, it's going through a hole on the structure, which is a bit unusual. Sorry about the noise, but we've got airplanes flying around. It's an airfield after all. So I've got my length of wire. I get to about halfway and I wind it. I'm after about a sort of 45-degree angle here. So however many turns it takes going round in one direction. Through the hole, pull tight. This has got bend in it at sort of 90 degrees, so it can't carry on. So here we go, we'll go back and This bit of wire should go back through the way it came out. Of course, you've got to fiddle it past the wire that's already in, and then you pull that tight and bend it to 90 degrees. That will hold the tension now in there. So this one, about 45 degrees, going through the hole there. Pull that tight. So I'm still rotating in the same sort of direction as I go around, and just trying to get this to conform nicely. There. And it's going to go through the hole, the opposite, yeah, the way it came, so it's got to go back up through there. So now we've got the two wires, well, it's a one piece of wire, but where it started out, poking out each side, one's gone that way, one's gone that way, and they are coming out opposite sides, and bend it down, just like twist into it, and then I've got wire locking pliers, but you can do this by hand. We twist the wires up. Straight, sounds like it's going to land in the hanger. Cut it off with about 4 twists, so 2.5 turns or so, I suppose. 1, 2, yeah. I bend it over to what we call a pigtail, flatten it off, and just give that last little tweak so that that's now hidden in the thing. So that's tight. I'll do the other one. We'll do this one in without my yarning. So there we go. Okay, there's a little bit I've made up. That's the aerial support. So the aerial goes through that, and this is all going to be on the aircraft. These holes are a little bit closer in than anywhere else, and that's going to be bolting or clamping this to the ribs. I'm going to drill a hole in here to take a little ring crimp, so I can have a ring crimp, so I can have an earth going from here to the cabane struts. That'll be riveted on here, well, through this and through that, and then go onto one of the bolts on the cabane. The whole, so we've got an earth, so I can use this as part of the ground plane and the cabane struts as part of the ground plane. And this is just to stop the aerial from wobbling around, because 1/2 mil thick metal isn't going to support a whip. So there we go. That's been knocked up. We're just about ready to go and start putting things on the aeroplane again. There's the ring crimped in position using the crimping tool. That won't come off very easily at all, so that's good, and that will be riveted underneath once we've got rivet going through the whole lot. Well, that's it for this week's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the wire locking of the turnbuckles, slightly different to the standard for the American method, and I want you to keep yourselves fit and well, and join me in next week's video. So bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.